Jennifer Jones paints large. She shares the origins of her recent exhibition, Big Dogs, Large Stories, and why she enjoys working on large canvas. She also shares how instruction has informed her work, her experiences with art consultation, exhibiting work, and what's next. I'm Amy, and he's Brent, and this is La Crosse Local.
My name is Jennifer Fisher Jones. I was born in Grinnell, Iowa. Painting is something that's been in my bones since I was a little kid. I was one of those children that was drawing on anything that would accept a crayon, much to the chagrin of my parents. But people fostered my creative notions all the way up until I went to college and I graduated with a studio art degree and kind of kept going with it from there. Also done a fair amount of sculpture, but painting is the thing that's stuck with me the most because I can really do it anywhere.
You have a current show called Big Dogs, Large Stories. They seem to be very vibrant in color, playful. Can you tell us about that show?
I'm a series artist for the most part, so I'll grab a concept and run with it as long as I can. And this one's been going on since 2018. And it started, like many artists, around the holiday season. I was painting pet portrait commissions to kind of get some extra money. And I was fascinated with the process and the stories I would hear from owners. Some of the pets had passed on, some were just dearly beloved. And I started to nurture that connection with the humans. And it was really, really beautiful and amazing. And some of the images and compositions that were coming out of these little paintings, I thought these would be really cool if they were big. And I have historically enjoyed to paint big, so this is not a new thing. So I couldn't really find anybody who wanted me to commission me to paint a giant portrait of their dog. So I thought, I love my dog and my dog's pretty cool. And if I don't, if nothing happens with it, fine. I have this huge portrait of my dog I can hang in my house. I had a roll of canvas and I taped it up on the wall and just went for it. And it was, it caught me. And I knew I had to keep going. So I recruited some dogs. I put a call for dogs with interesting stories on social media, and people just jumped at it. I set it up as it would be a collaboration between me and the dog and the human. And so we went through the similar process as I did with these small portraits. I would draw out more stories and more anecdotes from the human about their dogs. So it allowed me to tune into the human. It allowed me to tune into the dog. And then that came through in the portrait. I feel like the essence is captured of the dog. At the end of the process, I would ask the human to write a page or however long, write it down. And so that is also a big component of the series.
These are some, as you stated, some large-scale pieces. Looking on your website, you have an image of it being hung up, and you can really just imagine how big these are. Do you enjoy working that large?
I really do. And I paint in all sizes, but it's always a big relief when I can paint something big again. Right now, I have some smaller panels that I'm working on. It's 6 inches by 8 inches. So I kind of refer to this as like a zoom in, zoom out technique. So I zoom way in, I'm working on a little portrait or a little animal of some other or something else small, have the really tiny brushes out, and then to jump back to something that's 4 feet or even 3 feet. It's just a great relief. But the zooming in really informs the coming back out and painting large. So it helps my painting technique for sure.
So, talking about technique and instruction, you have been instructing other students. How has this process of teaching others been a part of your life?
Yeah, after I graduated from undergrad, I went back to get my teaching certificate because being a starving artist at that time was much more difficult than I thought it was going to be. And I was just working a lot of jobs. And I thought, okay, I like kids. I've always liked teaching, so I'll get my teaching certification. After I did that, I moved to San Francisco right away with my Iowa teaching certification. I'd never had a traditional art teacher gig, but I taught in a lot of community art centers, the San Francisco Art Center, places all around Iowa, private schools. And my passion with that is really helping children or adults actualize their vision. So the burning thing that they really want to make, like, how do I make this donkey fly or something like that? So helping them figure out, okay, so how can we do that? Here's some materials that we have. Let's do it. Because you can do just about anything if you are creative about it, which those types of art entities allow me to do. You might not be able to do that in a regular classroom.
Just digging into you a little bit, you've also done some work in just art consolation. It's led you around the United States. Can you tell us about how that fit into your life and process?
I always like to say that I taught art and then I sold art, and now I finally get to make art. And actually now I'm doing a bit of all three. This kind of might lead into where this is going, but right before COVID-19 hit in middle February, I opened or moved into a studio gallery space downtown Decorah. I have big hopes to be able to do all three of those things here and show other people's art, showcase my art, work here, maybe teach a little. All of that experience that I've had and over the years is kind of all coming together. I love the art consultation. It was great. So I help people develop their collections by sourcing artists. I worked with a lot of designers, but there wasn't a lot of opportunity for me to continue on that career path when I moved back to Iowa in 2001.
So if people want to check out Big Dog Large Stories, how can they do that currently in La Crosse?
Well, it's currently up at the Pump House Regional Art Center there, showing in the front and balcony galleries. My understanding now is that people can go online or call the Pump House for appointment, and it's a certain number of days, certain hours a week. I'm not sure exactly what those are right now. And they can go and have a little private viewing of my work and three other artists that are hanging there. That will be up until September 12th. And if for any reason you aren't able to go to the Pump House, I have a website that's project specific, and it's bigdogslargestories.com.
You also mentioned COVID-19, but also I'm sure that's affected your planning for 2020. What is next for you?
Well, I'll continue here in the new space that I have. I'm also trying to figure out how to showcase artist work that I have here in-house, taking a cue from how the Pump House, we'll see how that goes tonight, being able to kind of keep things vibrant downtown here in Decorah. I have a couple of new series that I'm exploring right now, and we'll see if any of those take hold. One of them is three-dimensional representations of Zen koans, which has been pretty fun. They take a little longer than some of my other work, so it's a slow goer. The abstract maps is another way. But the primary thing is to figure out how what will happen in this space.
So if people want to find out more, about the new space or just follow along, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, social media, Sundog Studios is the name of my studio gallery down here. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook.
La Crosse Local Podcast is a production of River Travel Media. Do you have an interview idea you would like to share with us? Message us on Facebook at La Crosse Locals. Subscribe to the La Crosse Local Podcast on your favorite podcast app. If you like us, rate us 5 stars. We thank you for it.